Tommy Fury and KSI, the fight, it's almost here. We are a few days away. It's fight week. Someone's going to get put away. And in today's video, we're going to be critiquing the last little bit of footage that KSI has just released of him hitting pads and training a bit, and see what we can extrapolate from that footage to maybe find out what his game plan is going to be against Tommy Fury. We've done it yesterday with Logan Paul. You can go and watch that video up here, and we were talking about if Logan Paul is going to win against Dylan Dennis, how he's going to get it done. So today, we're going to do the same with KSI. Misfits just released this pretty decent video called Uninterrupted KSI in Camp for Tommy Fury, and it's a little bit of a behind the scenes look at KSI in training 1 week out from his fight. But there's a few things we can look at. We can see how sharp he is and what his technique is looking like a few days out from the fight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, time.
For anyone who doesn't know, this is just an old school way of conditioning your abs. It gets you used to taking a punch. It gets you used to bracing your core, ready for impact, ready to take a punch.
Legacy, I think for me, is the ability to go against all odds and become successful. From literally starting with nothing, no talent, no help, just working hard, staying disciplined, believing in yourself, and just essentially having something or creating something from nothing that many people remember for years, decades, centuries.
Being a business owner myself, I can appreciate that, and I know there's a lot of hate for KSI, and he was a little bit cocky in his last win where he pretty much elbowed the lad, but KSI has still smashed it. No hate there. If anything, draw inspiration from it. Anyone can come from nothing. Right, got some overhand rights.
I think for me, I think it started.
Let's check that out again. Looks like he's got pretty decent power, looking sharp the week of the fight. Let's see. What we look for when people are doing these overhand rights, KSI is in a southpaw stance there, is if their lead hand drops as they throw the overhand right, it leaves you exposed for an uppercut or even a left hook if the other person is in a regular stance. So watch KSI's right hand. Does it stay up or does it drop down? We know KSI likes to fight with his hands down. No, it doesn't drop down. We can see there, he's still got his hands by his chin. That's a good looking overhand right from KSI. Let's see if he does it again. Hands up. Hands pretty much by his chin. It came down slightly, but it's not too bad because if someone tries to counter him, his hand is still in close proximity. If his hand was down by his waist, he's got further distance to cover to get his hand back up there to defend. Whereas when he's through the overhand right, even if his hand has came down here, he's only got to bring it up that much. So although it's not perfect, it's still pretty close to his face.
I think for me, I think it started, I always reached the things I cared about. Like there was a certain goal that I wanted to reach when it came to like fame or money. And I reached it and then I was like, now what?
Yeah.
So, for me, after a few years, I decided to find something that was unachievable, something that I can't reach. You can't reach the end of legacy. There's no point of legacy that you can go, oh yeah, this is it. Like legacy is for as long as you are alive.
Yeah, and assuming that he's talking about fighting there, I totally agree with him, because we're all trying to chase becoming the perfect fighter, but no one is the perfect fighter. Even the perfect fighters have mistakes and holes in the game, and the best fighters in the world will also tell you this. Anyone who takes up the pursuit of martial arts will understand this. All the years I've trained, obviously except for these last 12 months, I'd still probably say I've still got so much to fix. I am not a perfect fighter whatsoever. I'm decent, but I've got so many holes in my game, and that's the beauty of it. It's all about the journey, not the destination. And what KSI was saying there is he kind of reached all his destinations in life, and fighting was a new avenue to chase the journey, and the journey is never ending, but that is where you get the fulfillment, not in the destination. And that's often why fighters struggle to retire, because there is no end destination when you're fighting. So we got some more footage of KSI throwing some right hands next. Let's take a look. Okay.
Yeah, it's right hand you need to get some close to.
Let's watch it one more time in slow motion. Interesting. So now he's got his left foot forward. He's not working from southpaw anymore. So I wonder if we're going to see a bit of stance switching from KSI in this fight. I think we will see that. This is something that Michael Venom Page does a lot, and KSI trains at the same gym as Michael Venom Page. I think we're going to see a lot of stance shifting, a lot of in and out, but it seems like KSI is training with his guards up here, but we know that he's got a little bit more of a bouncy, floaty, in and out style with his hands down. So the question is it the former KSI that's going to show up, the one with the hands down that looks a little bit like Michael Venom Page? Or is it going to be this new version with his hands up and a little bit more of a brawler with more solid fundamentals? And we're watching that left hand as well. Does it drop down or does he keep it close to the chin? Only slightly there. That's good. And then he ducks under. You see the way KSI ducks under now? He keeps his guard up. He keeps his eyes up as well. He's not ducking his head down. We spoke about it in the Logan Paul video yesterday. Logan Paul kind of had this half Philly shell and was going like this and was ducking down there. He was using a lot more of his lower back down there, like that. Whereas KSI kept his guard up, kept his head up, and used his legs to squat underneath. So we can see KSI has clearly developed a little bit more fundamentals, especially when contrasted against Logan Paul. And I know KSI and Logan Paul aren't fighting. I'm just using them to contrast each other. They've fought in the past, and it was yesterday's video. Shout out to London Shoe Fighters, top gym.
From where he was at when he first came to where he's now, he's come on leaps and bounds. He's only sparring professional boxers.
That's good to hear. This is the head coach at London Shoe Fighters.
Whole camp, forget MMA fighters, forget amateurs. He's fighting guys 14-0, 13-0, 12-2s, 8-0, 6-0s, all with knockouts, all ranked by the British Border Control.
Brilliant to hear. This is a basic ladder drill. Every athlete pretty much does it. Some of you might be thinking, well, what's the carryover to boxing that this has? Not much really. It gets you a little bit better at coordination, but it's more of a conditioning drill. It's just really good for fast footwork, get your heart rate up a little bit, and it's low impact. It does improve your coordination and your proprioception, but it doesn't have a direct crossover to boxing footwork. Getting better and practicing boxing footwork is what's going to give you better boxing footwork. Not stuff like this. That's a common misconception that people have when you're looking at the strength and conditioning world and the actual sports combat practicality world. Certain things from the strength and conditioning don't carry over. It might look like it does, but it doesn't. The strength and conditioning doesn't make you fitter for your fighting. No, you actually get conditioned and fit for fighting by fighting more. Doing 10 3-minute rounds of sparring is going to be far better for your conditioning than doing loads of these ladder drills or loads of strength and conditioning. The strength and conditioning world should supplement and support your combat training.
We've got guys that are ranked higher than Tommy Fury in the gym, and they're not moving us around. They're trying to kill JJ. There's bonus money on the table for them to knock him out. I don't know, like, from my point of view, from a coaching point of view, all I want to do is put the correct guys in front of KSI, give him the right look, and see whether or not he can deal with that look. And if he can't, then he shouldn't be fighting.
Right, this is very interesting to hear. Alexis said he's putting bonus money down for the sparring partners if they knock KSI out. Now, some people might think this is a little bit harsh, but this is an age-old tactic the coaches have. George St. Pierre's coach, Farar Sahabi, used to do this back in the day. He used to say to all GSP's training partners, look, if you knock him out or if you take him down, I'll give you 5 grand or 10 grand, whatever it was. And when you see videos like this, it's very easy to get swayed. I think Tommy Fury's going to get it done. But when I watch this video, it gives me a little bit more confidence in KSI. Hearing the stuff that Alexis is saying, of course, KSI is his fighter. He's going to have a natural bias towards him. But they sound like they mean business. They are not amateurs here. They've been in the game for years. They've coached many professional fighters. So it definitely gives me a little bit more confidence in KSI. But I've always said, I think KSI is going to be a tougher fight than we'd like to believe against Tommy Fury. I think Tommy Fury is going to get it done, but I think he might struggle a little bit. And this kind of confirms that suspicion that I had. Nice shots from KSI. Now, let's slow it down. So he's throwing the right hand. His left hand is staying by his chin. Obviously, it comes away a little bit as he's getting that torque on the right hand. But watch that left hand. Now, some people might think, okay, well, his hand's coming down there. If you look at his left, it's dropping a little bit. It is slightly, but that can almost be perceived as a jab or a fake jab. So it's not something that I put too much weight in at the moment. But these look like good, solid punches from KSI. He's getting full extension. Maybe he could be like a couple inches further back on that, but it doesn't really matter. He's just going for power there. Got the left hook. So in that clip, his power's looking good, his speed is looking good. He's not dropping his hands like crazy. He's actually keeping them up, despite the fact that his last few fights that we've seen, he has a hands-down style. So this is good. It's given a little bit more curiosity into what approach is KSI going to take.
Everyone always talks about meeting each other in the middle of the ring, but I don't think Tommy will. But if he does, he's going to be in a fight immediately. But I think the keys to beating Tommy Fury are exactly what we said the whole time. It's bringing him into the deep end. It's bringing him into a fight. It's making sure he understands that crowd is... They want blood. They don't really care whether it's his blood or JJ's blood. They're here. They're there for a show.
I wanted to wait until he was done talking there. This exercise right here is called a wrestler's bridge. It's an exercise that strengthens your neck. You might have seen Mike Tyson do it back in the day. If you've ever tried it, it's really tough. A couple of years ago, I was doing this myself just because I was getting back into kickboxing and I wanted to take punches a little bit better. And there's some evidence out there that shows that if you've got a stronger neck, you can take punches better because your head's not going to whiplash back and then therefore your brain's not going to knock on the back wall of your cranium as much. It It's never a detriment to have a strong neck. So we can see here, KSI is now working on a lot of inside work with Alexis. That is probably because Tommy Fury's got the reach advantage. So KSI and Alexis have probably formulated a game plan to get on the inside. We even heard Coach Alexis talk a few minutes ago about how if Tommy Fury wants to meet KSI in the center and have a brawl, Tommy Fury's going to be in trouble if he does that. So it sounds like, and it seems like, that they've took KSI from being an outside fighter, someone who blitzes in a lot, to instead getting on the inside and being able to get off the shots within that range instead. Now, what we might see is a hybrid approach. It seems like he's added that extra little dimension to his game where now he can fight on the inside.
Yeah, there's a lot of days where I wake up like, fucking hell, I can't be arsed. This is ridiculous. Like, I've already done like a crazy session yesterday and the day before and the day before.
I feel like that, and I've only just started training again.
But I get up and I do it.
Yeah.
And I just listen.
Discipline.
Every time I just listen. I literally just go all in. You know, there's no ego when I'm in this gym. I am not there like, oh, I'm KSI, I'm the nightmare, da da da. You know, I am the student and I'm just listening to my teachers.
There is zero room for ego in the gym, because otherwise you're not going to learn. Now, obviously, you can go into the gym and have an ego. You're not going to learn anything because you're going to be too focused on trying to beat everyone up rather than actually learning the technique of what you're trying to achieve. One of the phrases I live by, not just in martial arts, but in life, is white belt mentality. You should always approach life and whatever endeavor that you're upon as a white belt mentality. Always be seeking to learn. Always be the sponge. You should never be entering a room and trying to be the big dog. You should be entering a room trying to learn and network with people and be the sponge, so then you can better your life. The people who go into these gyms and these rooms and who try to be the big dog and who try to seem like the guy who knows it all, usually they're the ones who don't know shit. They're trying to compensate for the lack of knowledge, or they're trying to compensate for the lack of skill. If you're truly, truly confident, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. There's a couple things I want to show you with these shots. The 1-2 look pretty decent. Now, this is something I wanted to show you right here. I was saying in yesterday's video about Logan Paul's hooks, and noticed Logan Paul's right hook when he was sparring was a little bit slappy, and a few people disagreed with me on that, and I understand there's different ways to throw hooks. Sometimes Tyson Fury throws one of those slapping hooks, but usually as a setup shot. Tyson Fury will do it with his lead hand, so often he'll go slap left hook, hit him with this part of his hand, and then he'll throw the straight right down the centre. Logan Paul was throwing his right power hand as a slap and hook. You can do that. I was just saying that if he turns into his shot a little bit more, because he's a big lad and he's got big arms, he will get so much more power. KSI is a lot smaller than Logan Paul, yet he's getting a lot of power in these shots. I actually think if you was to measure and compare KSI's power with Logan Paul's power, I don't think you'd see too much of a difference. Watch how he turns his knuckles into the pad. It's hard to see from this angle. It'd be great if the camera was on the other side. If I pause it right there, he's turning his knuckles in. It's not a long hook. Finish him with a slap. What's interesting as well, all my boxers and fellow martial artists will understand this out here. Even if you're right-handed, sometimes your left hook can be as strong, if not stronger, than your right hand, because of the amount of torque and twist that you can generate off that left hand. And one of my theories for this is, when you're facing your opponent, I've got my left foot forward. If I'm hooking with my right hand, my hips are already rotated backwards. So I have to generate all my power from here, this position. There's no what's called a stretch reflex of the muscle. So a stretch reflex is when your muscle creates an elastic effect and it bounces back. For example, if you're doing a bicep curl and you're holding 40 kilograms, it's hard to just go from this dead position and go and curl the 40 kilograms up from that dead position. But once it's up there, if you drop it down and then go straight back into it, you can get that weight up so much easier, because you have the elasticity effect, the stretch reflex in the muscle coming back up. And it's almost the same principle when we're talking about hooks. I hope you're still with me here. You've got no stretch reflex here unless you pull back more like this and then throw your hook. There's less rotational aspect. Whereas when you throw that left hook, you can go jab, cross, or you don't even have to throw anything. You don't have to set it up. Or you can create a little bit of a stretch reflex effect from here. So in slow motion, it would look like this. You'd be here, and then you twist in. So even though the left hand is weaker than the right hand, you're able to generate more torque and twist by coming here and then snapping back. Whereas it's harder to do from this side because your hips are already rotated, unless you're coming back off the cross and then you throw it again. I hope that makes sense. Bit of a long-winded explanation, but that's how the stretch reflex works. That's why often your left hook can be a little bit more snappy than your right hook. Just my theory. I can be completely wrong, but I'm pretty certain, based on my strength and conditioning background, that that'd be a big reason as to why there's not really much of a power difference in your hooks between both arms.
Tommy Fury versus KSI is an enormous fight. You kind of got to figure out that Tommy Fury snuck his way into this industry, into this scene of influence. He's not really an influencer. He's a boxer. He's the best guy on the show by far. Him beating Jake Paul the way he did. KSI is a different beast. He's a different guy. Jake Paul. He's way more tenacious.
I'm glad that they recognise Tommy as a threat. They're not just saying he's an influencer. All the trash talk aside, you know that Alexis, KSI's coach, is going to be telling them, listen, Tommy's the real deal. And we have to accept that that's going to make KSI train a lot harder. The underdog is often very dangerous because no one expects them to win. And they also know that. They know that the whole world is rooting against them. So they train even harder and even harder. If you're expected to win, chances of you training hard aren't really going to be that high. You're going to think, I've got this in the bag. I won't do that extra mile of running. I'll skip a couple rounds here and there. So regardless of all KSI's antics, he's got a good coach and he's operating from a pretty good gym.
Honestly, this camp has been nuts. Hardest camp of my life. I'm about to shock a lot of people, man. For real. I mean, I've got the power, but imagine the cardio, the tenacity, the technique. Jeez. Dangerous guy, man.
I definitely don't think he's overlooking him. I think it'll be the best Tommy Fury you're ever going to see. But I also think I know it's the best KSI you're ever going to see. And we'll just see who got it right and who got it wrong. Are our calculations really wrong? Have we got it completely wrong? Has KSI got no chance against Tommy Fury? Or have they got it wrong?
Interesting. You can tell that the coach is very unbiased as well. He's supporting his fighter, but he also recognises that Tommy Fury is a legit threat. I'm going to do another video this week talking about my final predictions, but judging by this footage, my opinion doesn't change. So yeah, I still think Tommy Fury is going to get it done, but I do think he's going to have a little bit of trouble. I don't think it's going to be a breeze for him because KSI has got a very unique style. Has he got a little bit more tenacity, a little bit more ferocity than Jake Paul? I think so. Maybe so, yeah. Jake Paul is a little bit more of a ploddy fighter. KSI is a little bit more gritty. That's the feeling that I get anyway. I don't think Tommy Fury's overlooking KSI, but I do think he might struggle a little bit with the distance. Now that we know KSI is going to work on the inside a bit more, he's tightened up that aspect of his game. It's going to be interesting to see, once he blitzes in, can he stay on that inside and go blow for blow with Tommy, who's got really solid fundamentals? It's all going to be interesting. I'm excited for it. October the 14th, for this Saturday. I'm made up as well because I actually got really good sleep last night. I'm going to try and get good sleep every single night, so I'm super recovered and I can have I'm looking forward to just having a boss night out, to be honest. I haven't had a night out since last year. I haven't had a drink since last year. So if you go into the event and you see me, say hello. I'll give you a little cheers. I'll get you on the vlog and yeah, let's have a boss night. Okay, like the video and subscribe for daily uploads. It's fight week. We've got a lot to cover. Appreciate you all. See you tomorrow.